Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how I created these joggers from a pattern I purchased off Etsy from the shop level 13L13, and I will leave a link to the item in the description box below. When you print off this pattern you will need to print it off with the paper size A4. Also be advised it does not come with instructions. Once you get it printed off and taped together, you'll have a front piece, back piece, two pieces for the front pockets, and a piece for the back pocket. On this pattern, I did not add the back pockets because this is actually a commission piece for somebody, and he did not want back pockets. This pattern is also made to be used with stretchy fabric. The person that I was making this for did not want the knit fabric, so this is actually made onto some poly cotton. And so I had to alter the pattern a little bit around the ankles, and then I also dropped the crotch a little bit more. Plus, he is 6'6", and this pattern is made for somebody that's around 6 foot. So I had to add length to the pattern as well. And with all that talking aside, I'll tell you what I did. I cut two pieces for the front, two pieces for the back, just like the pattern says. For the pockets, you use two different kinds of patterns to create them. So I cut two of each of the patterns for those. And for the waistband, I did cut a long rectangle out of knit fabric for it. I also added cuffs to the bottom out of the same knit. With the pattern pieces cut out, I go ahead and pin the center seam of the back of the pants and set those aside. With the front of the pants, I separated those, made sure that they were mirrored to each other before I added the pockets to it. For the front of the pocket, I take this shaped pattern piece and I aligned it up with that diagonal cut on the front of the pants. And then just sew on that diagonal line. And if you're using a patterned fabric, make sure you're doing wrong sides to wrong side on this step. With that line sewn, flip it over, that way the seams are encased, because you will be top stitching this down. And I use a serger on all my seams so that way it's nice and neat on the inside. And go ahead and give that a top stitch. Now to add the back part of the pocket, you take the other piece that has not the diagonal line and you align that up with the same shape as the pocket. And if you are using a patterned fabric, make sure this is right sides to right sides. And then you're going to go ahead and sew that up. And just make sure you're sewing the pocket, not the front of the pants as well. You do not have to sew the side part because that pocket will get caught in the side seams when you sew the actual pant leg up. Once that's sewn, I do go ahead and pin the top part of the pants together. That way that pocket doesn't flap around. And you now have a pocket. And with the pockets all in place, go ahead and pin the front center seam of the front of the pants and go ahead and sew that up and sew up the back seam. And with the center seam sewn up, go ahead and do right sides to right sides on the front and the back of the pants. And pin the side seams for the sides of the legs together and sew those up. And then for the inside of the legs, match up the center seams on the front and the back And then what I do to make sure everything stays even and doesn't shift, I start from the middle seam and sew down one side of the leg, and then go back to the middle seam and sew the other side of the leg up. With those done, you should have something that looks like pants. For the waistband, I take that long strip of knit fabric and I sew up the short side. And then what I do is I fold it in half and I sew that up, but I do leave an opening in the back center seam. And since this is a knit fabric, I do use a small stretch stitch, which you can also use a zigzag stitch for. And with that band done, I go ahead and attach it to the waist of the pants. And I do leave the opening bit at the back center seam open because I need to add an elastic band inside of it. And with the elastic, I use safety pins. Just weave it through that channel of the waistband. And then I go ahead and sew the elastic together, and then I close up that opening of the knit fabric to the pants. And here you can stop, just give it a nice hem at the bottom and you can stop, but we wanted cuffs on the bottom. So I take those smaller squares of fabric, I do basically the same thing as I did the waistband where I sewed up the smaller size, and then I go ahead and fold it in half, stitch that to the bottom of the pants, except for I do not add elastic to this. And with that, the pants are done. The pattern is a good pattern. There was just some alterations I had to make. So anytime you get a new pattern, if you're not sure how it works, I always make a mock-up. And because I actually like this pattern, I actually made me several pairs of these pants. However, I did change the shape of the pocket. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next time. Bye.